Good morning, everybody. This is July the 29th, and we're looking at 1 Corinthians chapter 9. In this passage, the Lord through Paul gives us teaching with regard to the support of the Lord's servants. And Paul is discussing the question with the Corinthians as to whether the Lord's servants, including himself, should be able to be financially supported in the work that they do. He explains that in his particular case, because he is a pioneer missionary and he works primarily amongst his own converts, that he does not take an income from the churches that he is founding. In spite of that, many of the churches do support him. The church at Philippi, for example, supported him all along. And Paul talks in this passage quite extensively about the whole subject. He explains that it is perfectly right and proper for a servant of the Lord to be supported by the Lord's people. My password is an unusual phrase, verse 9. Paul says, "For it is written in the law of Moses, Thou shalt not muzzle the mouth of the ox that treadeth out the corn." Wow. Does God take care of oxen? He certainly does. And what was happening was, an oxen would be put into the threshing floor, and he would go round and round in circles, and the grains of wheat would be trodden under his hooves and would come out of the stalk, and this would be very extensively trampled under in such a way that when the winnowing takes place and all the stalks are blown away by the wind, so what will be left will be the corn. Now, says Paul, in the law, it says that you're not allowed to put a muzzle over the mouth of an ox. He is allowed, when he's hungry, to stoop down and to eat the corn that he has produced. And so therefore it is only right and proper that those who work in the preaching of the gospel, in the ministry of the word, should be able to be financially supported for the work that they do. It's a long passage, and it's a very important point. Paul was criticized by certain people and by the people at Corinth, criticized because he didn't take a salary from them. But he explains, I'm not doing it because I don't need the money. I'm not doing it because I want those at the very cutting edge of my ministry to not be expected to financially support me. So his work was for free. He did a work amongst the Jews. He did a work amongst the Gentiles. His work was very extensive. But unlike most of the other apostles, apart from Barnabas, he supported himself as much as he was able to do, and this was God's will for his ministry. So then, let's remember the ox, the one who treads out the corn. Let's remember that God is kind. God is kind towards the ox, and he allows the ox to participate, to eat the very corn